And away we go. It's the pickup meeting. Brody, we're back at it.
Yeah, Just Us episode.
Isn't that fantastic? Episode, late February. Let's go.
Let's go. Winter's almost over.
Winter is almost over. Let's kill it off. Spring is here. Hooray.
Hooray. By the end of February, I'm always like, come on. I'm looking at the weather every day. Like, it's going to turn. The worm's going to turn.
Yeah, I think you get to the end of February working in higher education and you think spring break is almost here. And I look at the calendar this year and it's like spring break is not close. It feels later in the year. Why are you so far away?
Yeah. Yeah, I hate wishing February away. We were talking about this the other day. Like it's a gauntlet for me. Like the winter is like my youngest daughter, Macy, her birthday is December 26th. My wife's birthday is January 31st. My oldest daughter's birthday is February 19th. And then, we talked about Valentine's Day, the last Just Us episode, right? Like you got Valentine's Day in there too. There's a lot of things to be grateful for me as I hit the end of February, right? Celebrating a lot of milestones for my family. So I don't want to say it's all bad.
Yeah, and similar, Braden's birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday early, Braden.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He does listen to the episode, so an early birthday. And then my mom and my wife's birthday is within the next week after that. And so it's a time frame that everything is pretty tight there too. I will say the other thing that comes up here pretty quickly that when you get to the end of February, you're looking forward to is the end of daylight savings time, or as I like to call it, things we should stop doing.
Yes.
Like, please. Listen, mental health is important. Seasonal depression is a real thing. Not just crap off.
Yeah. I mean, I think about like early winter, but it's still in February. Like it's still dark, 4:30, 5 o'clock where I am. Like that's no good.
Yeah. And I understand that at some point, and this still is a thing, that farmers having armies of kids was a thing to work in the fields and do things around the farm. There's a little less of that nowadays. So can we please stop this?
Yes, please.
Please. Other things that have stopped here recently, and so I'm curious, Brody, are you a Winter Olympics person?
Dude, I love the Winter Olympics.
Do you love all Olympics or Winter Olympics?
Well, I like the Winter Olympics and all the Olympics, but Winter Olympics is super, super fun. I was thinking about this. Like I said, we have to talk about the Winter Olympics. And here's why. I mean, I was 10 years old and I did watch. I remember this. We watched the U.S. versus USSR match in 1980 Winter Olympics. Now, it was tape delayed so that we knew the game was over. Like, I mean, I didn't know because we didn't have the internet and I was 9 years old, but the world knew. But Kevin Thomas, you didn't know because you weren't even born yet.
Right. That's how young I am, that I don't remember this at all. I only remember the hit movie,
Miracle.
Or was that what it's called?
Yeah.
Miracle on Ice. There it is.
No, it's just called Miracle.
Oh, is it? Right. I don't know. I just remember going to the movie and seeing that. But obviously you remember Al Michaels' call and you've seen the highlights and that type of thing. But did I see it live? No, because I wasn't alive.
Yeah. There are some people that argue that that's the greatest sports moment in history.
I could see it. I mean, as you reflect upon being there, would you say that was the greatest of your time frame?
If I had been there, maybe I would say it. Even as a 9-year-old, I don't know. The 2011 World Series Game 6 sticks out pretty big for me.
That's pretty good. Do you have favorite sports that you like to watch? Like Summer Olympics, I feel like you're either a track and field person or a swimming person. You're not usually like Winter Olympics. What's your thing?
I love the speed skating, both the distance and then when they go around the track. Like this is a random story that I just now realized that we hadn't talked about at all. But Catherine did an internship with the U.S. Olympic Committee in Lake Placid in the fall of '96. And when I went there over Thanksgiving break, and she had been working with Anton Paulo Ono, who won a couple gold medals in '96. She'd been working with the bobsledders. She worked with some of the women's hockey players. And all I can remember from that visit is none of those things, but that we played football on Thanksgiving Day, like in the snow, and I won the MVP of that game. So I competed against Olympians and came out with the gold medal that day.
I feel like I'm gonna need verifying on this story.
You can talk to Kat about it. I had a couple touchdowns, a couple interceptions.
Like, who were you? Were you playing against the figure skater? Like, what was happening?
No, it's
you
a real
were the Olympians, and you were the MVP.
I was.
God, and that's not a dig on figure skaters, but let's talk about the ones I don't like. Figure skating.
Yeah,
I don't get this.
I don't either. I agree.
Because here's the thing. If it requires, and I struggle in gymnastics too, so stop it there, haters of sports of this genre. But if it comes down to the German judge, I'm just going to pick on Germany for no particular reason. The German judge giving me a 9.473 because I didn't blink 6 times.
Yes.
I got some issues there.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I like the pomp. I like the circumstance. I like it, right? Like, I enjoy the show.
Hockey's great. Skiing's great. Speed skating's great.
Anything with the downhill stuff, like when you're on
ski jumpers,
you're jumping and you're flying in the air. Sign me up for watching those people risk their lives.
Yes.
All right.
Let's go. So, I enjoyed the Winter Olympics a lot. Just not figure skating. But I don't enjoy diving either or gymnastics because judges are determining who wins.
Yeah, don't love that. Well, let's talk about something more fun. Yeah. Higher education.
Let's do it.
All right. I am at this point, and this is not on our list. It was not on our list of topics. And so who knows where this will go?
Who knows?
Leadership isn't always popular.
Doggone it, Kevin. No,
and
it's not.
I think it's important that we have these conversations on our role within institutions and the impacts that we're having and how that really works. And what really made me think about this, and some of this is, you talk about this with advising conversations. I always say, how do you know that it was an effective advising appointment? I've heard people say, well, do the students come out of the appointment happy? Do they come out of it feeling good? And I would say that's not great. Like, you want them to, but like, you could tell them that they're going to get $1 million and they're going to come out happy.
Yeah.
Like, you could give them all the wrong guidance, but you could sell it in a really great way. They're going to come out happy.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes for leadership, people are like, oh, well, your people like you and you seem to be doing well. And they're really motivated to work for you. But I get lost in this sometimes.
And those things matter.
Yes.
But there are other things that matter too, right? Kind and good leadership is maybe having a difficult conversation with compassion with an employee that's really challenging them to be better, right?
Right. Yeah, because in this case, sometimes unpopular leadership leads to effective outcomes.
Yes.
And I work. I don't worry about this. I wonder more. Brody, you talk a lot about the end of your time frame in the profession.
Yeah.
And some days I think you think that's tomorrow, and some days I think you think that's years from now. But when you think about that, does it shape your future, or does it shape the next few years and how you handle things differently?
I don't know. I don't know about that. Like, the one thing though, so I do think, for example, right, within Nakata folks, maybe I have a particular persona, right? And it's very positive, and I talk about happiness and meaning making. And I think that in my work, I've tried to reflect that kind of positivity. And look, like any normal human, I think having difficult conversations are difficult. And I try to avoid them whenever possible, but sometimes they are necessary. Sometimes making hard decisions are necessary. And I think the best leaders are willing to do that. Like, and sometimes that's about streamlining a program. Sometimes it's about moving a staff member to a different area. Sometimes it's about recalibrating a particular initiative. Sometimes it's about doing all this work for something and then not seeing the fruits of the labor because you got to pivot away from something that you thought was going to be a priority and now it's no longer a priority. All of those things require kindness. I think they require a positive approach, but they sometimes aren't very popular, but they're no less essential.
I have worked at UCA. I'm completing year 7. And if I'm here 7 years in one day, it'll be the longest I've been at an institution. And some of that's because I have aspiration to be in certain positions, and higher ed is really built oftentimes with, you have to move out to move up. It's not a great mentality. It doesn't award loyalty and doesn't award perseverance at an institution, but that happens a lot in higher education. And I think about this from a conversation that was had recently with a colleague, and they said, listen, I only have a few years left here. If I'm really going to do some good, I'm going to do a lot of things that don't necessarily make people happy, because I'm going to do the things that need to leave impact beyond my time here.
Yeah.
And I've really gotten stuck in that thought of, when you're transitioning to a certain point and when you're leading at a certain point, how you are doing the right things for the institution, the right things for your students, that may not be viewed as the right things by the people that you're surrounded by. And I think that's really strategic and powerful leadership that is often not talked about.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. And I would also say, when that's happening, I think the best leaders, right? Like, so I think when we have to make decisions like that, like I've spent a lot of time in the last 3 or 4 years, right? And really, as I left my old institution and came into this new institution, starting to think about like asking the right kind of questions. Like, what if we did things differently? What if we thought about this process differently? And that does require people to kind of come along for the ride. And sometimes it's not easy. And I think the best leaders are like, I spend a lot of my time, maybe way too much of my time, questioning whether or not I'm having an impact, whether or not I feel like my leadership is effective, right? And I think the best leaders hopefully are doing that constantly. But it does make the work a lot harder, because I think when you care that much about the work, and I feel like when you said like how many years I have left, I don't know how many years I have left, but the one thing I feel pretty confident about is I'm still pretty passionate about higher education, still pretty passionate about academic advising. And until I lose some of that passion, I feel like I'm going to be willing to take a look at leadership and take a look at the work of higher education and academic advising and student success in a way that benefits students and staff the most, right? And sometimes that means making decisions that aren't very popular. It just is reality.
Yeah, I think I keep the not popular or the strategic list in my mind at all times. And I think that strong leaders, well, I'm not even going to self-brag in that way. I'm not even going to say that that's the case. I think effective leadership always has things that they know need tweaked, even if it's a little bit. Are your offices organized correctly within your division? Or do you have the right structure of leadership for effectiveness in your team? Like those type of things that, again, aren't always popular, but are the things that might need to happen. Because I don't think higher education is alone in this. I think that sometimes structures are built because it's convenient, and structures are built because of the people that are in place at a certain time. I've looked back on positions that I'm in, and it's like, well, after I left, did that necessarily go well for the people that came in after me? No, but I think that had to do with my skill set being of a certain way, and the person coming in trying to fit their square technique into a round hole. Like it just doesn't always work that way. And so I think leaders having that list of things that they need to always be aware could be there as that, hey, let's change things up. Let's make an impact. Budget cuts are coming. We got to change the way we function. There's too many staff on whatever it might be. I think you always have to be prepared as a leader for the unknown that's there, that you may never, ever need this list, but you sure should know what's on it.
Yes. And I think the other thing about being a leader is sometimes we're willed to have to produce results that lead to unpopular actions, but really are edicts from above, where you're the messenger and you have to motivate staff to move forward on maybe a particular issue that you're not that keen on, or that you don't automatically agree with. And I think that does require nuance, and sometimes it requires, I think, a focus on the humanity of the work first, rather than thinking about people as, employees, but thinking about folks as humans, and really trying to move people forward, because we all have to do things sometimes that we don't agree with. And I don't mean like ethically, right? Like, but things that maybe we don't think are the best for a student population or a particular advising unit, but we're asked to kind of do that work. And I think even in those instances, being as professional as you can and trying to approach leadership from a kindness and positivity perspective are important, while acknowledging that this is hard and it's not going to be easy. It's a delicate balance. And sometimes I think I'm pretty good at it, and other days I don't think I'm very good at it at all.
And I think it's hard for a lot of folks, you and I included, that when we pour our energy and time into something, we want to see the payoff.
Yes.
Whatever that might look like. Yeah, I think about it from a UCA commitment standpoint, a project that happened on our campus for folks that don't know about it. It's tuition and fee free for students that our families 100,000 and less. It was pretty transformative for a lot of folks here in Arkansas. But as we're working on this thing for 18 solid months, there was still a likelihood of us saying, we can't do this. And that would have been crushing. And so sometimes you're doing the right things. You're putting the work in, you're putting the passion in, you're being the leader, you're looking at the transformative thing, and it doesn't get to pay off. And I've had those examples too. And those are hard, but it's how you rally the people around you, how you work on self-care in your own leadership development, the networks you keep, the connections that are there, the conversations you have, that I think can be so powerful, because we sit in chairs where leadership is hard. Leadership isn't always popular, but leadership is our reality, and the roles that we work in, and the roles that many of us work in.
Yeah, one of the things I'm really grateful for is having a network of folks, and we can't recommend this enough, right? Having a network of folks, not folks even on your campus, but folks that maybe understand higher education, that you can lean on when things get really, really tough. Because I've been pretty fortunate in my career, right, in that I've had to make hard decisions as a leader, and I've had to have difficult conversations as a leader, and I've had to let staff go from time to time as a leader. And sometimes when those things get challenging, you have to have folks that you can talk that through. And I feel pretty lucky that I have a great network, including you, Kevin, right? But other folks in higher ed that I can lean on when it gets hard. They understand. And so I think if you're in one of these spaces where this is difficult work and you don't have anybody to lean on, it's the one thing that's great about NACADA or any association that you might be involved in is find those folks that you can lean on when times are difficult, because they do get difficult.
And I'll say, you and I, again, I'm going to push you out with retirement here. You know, we were having a retirement conversation with me the other day.
I was.
And again, for the Illinois State people listening, not soon, right? I don't think he's saying that. But it was one of those. It was one of those where we really did talk about the other parts of this, which is taking care of yourself as a leader.
Yeah.
How many of us are sitting here with 6, 7, 8 weeks of vacation just in your account, but yet you say you don't have time to go on that trip with your family. How many of us are sitting here that say, oh, I know that I've got days coming up, but I'm gonna have to balance work with that because it's just too busy. We've said it before. We're gonna say it again. We're all replaceable.
Yeah, you're irreplaceable, Kevin. But
we're all irreplaceable. We're all replaceable in our work, but go out and do those adventures in life, I think, are really key. And I say that, Brody, because that's going to transition us to our top 3.
Yeah, can I put a bow on it though, Kevin?
Put a bow on it before you go to our top 3.
Like I always feel like I have to have the last word. Maybe that's not good.
I feel like you have to have the last word.
I know you do. Well, I was thinking about this. Like, we will have come back from the Administrators Institute. And last year, I was very vulnerable in the AI Institute when I talked about happiness and meaning making. Like, I kind of went on this journey in 2013 because I wasn't very happy. And I tell this story about getting my physical life back, right? Like that, and starting to think that you've figured it out. So I spent a couple years, I wasn't sleeping. I was really overweight. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't eating right. And so I took a year or so to lose about 60 pounds. And you start to think like you've got it figured out. And you start to make meaning of that because your bucket, your physical health bucket is fixed. And then I had a stroke in the summer of 2015. And all of a sudden, I really realized I didn't have it figured out. Like work was and I didn't have a stroke because of work stress, but it just got me to recalibrate like what work is. And I just think that personal care as it relates to being an effective leader, it's not just important for you, it's also important for the staff that you lead in this world of higher education to see. Like we have to take the time that's afforded to us. We have to have hobbies outside of work. We have to make sure that we're doing the things that we need to do to develop our own selves. And having people see that and modeling that is really important. So I totally agree. And it does get to our final topic, Kevin. So that was the bow. It was short and sweet. I did my best.
Bow. That's a good bow. Our top 3, though.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting away from the office and going and doing things.
Let's go.
The top 3 things for us, best road trip destinations / experiences.
This kind of gets at the plans, and the plans are for me are based in things that I've now done that I've thoroughly enjoyed. So the last 2 years, I've gone to the St. Pete Grand Prix, and I'm taking my oldest daughter there this late February, here in a few days, in fact, probably.
That's exciting.
To see the St. Pete Grand Prix. I have a great high school friend and her partner who allows us to stay at their place for free as kind of a hub. We hang out, we buy them dinner, and then we go to the race. And I'm looking forward to having my oldest daughter come there. I've really enjoyed IndyCar racing. This race is kind of the closest thing I'm going to get to Formula One without paying Formula One prices, which is awesome. I'm going to Maine this summer. Like we've had Rodney Mondor in, he's from Maine. I've worked with Beth Higgins, who's from Maine, but I've never been to Maine. And I don't know if that's the best road trip destination, but I'm excited about that.
Are you driving to Maine?
No, not driving. We're flying. But it's a road trip, right? Oh yeah, doggone it. Look, I love a good drive to Bloomington, Indiana. I mean, not many people can say they've lived in 2 Bloomingtons. I'm in Bloomington, Illinois now, but we road trip to Bloomington, Indiana quite a bit, and we love it there, right? It's kind of Kat and I's home base. We both are proud graduates of Indiana University. Hopefully national champion football Indiana Hoosiers. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we'll find out.
Because of our recording time frame, this is going to be super awkward if they lose to Miami.
Yes, it is going to be super awkward. But I'm going to do it anyway because and then I did put Evansville. Like, I've lived away from my hometown for a long time. Nothing beats driving to where you spent a good chunk of your time. Evansville's not a special place per se, but it's a special place to me. Like, my kids are still there. My in-laws are still there. My mom, a lot of my relatives, my brothers are still there. One of Catherine's sisters are still there. I think that's a great road trip, right? It just is fun to kind of get back to the home base. How about you?
There are experiences that stand out to me, and I've talked about one of them, I think, before. Every November, going to Gatlinburg, sometimes the journey is as much fun as the trip.
Yes.
Riding with fraternity brothers. When I lived in Bowling Green, it was the Bowling Green crew that would ride to Gatlinburg. But for 20 years, doing road trips from a variety of areas and talking about life and top 5 lists and who would you cut from this? And if you couldn't cheer for this team, who would be your team? Like it's fantastic. Like it's just a great road trip. Braden and I have done summer road trips where we just go someplace for a week or 10 days. And one of them stands out to where we started in Louisville at the Louisville Slugger Museum and the Ali Center and went up to the Canton, Ohio, and the NFL Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Niagara Falls and Cooperstown and ended it in DC on the 4th of July. I mean, it was just such an unbelievable trip. And then I really love, because I've had to drive so many times, I former St. Louis season ticket holder for the Rams when they had a football team there and going to different games. I love leaving the game experience and having that trip. Like you're excited afterwards, or you're down and depressed. And so you're trying to find something to uplift your spirits, whatever it is. I love that. And I think back on NFC championship games and leaving St. Louis just so fired up that you're going to the Super Bowl and you see people on the road that are doing the same thing and they're honking their horns and their hands are out the window just going crazy, and you can hear in their car that they're listening to like "We Are the Champions" or things like that. And it's such a community of things that you don't think of on the road. And I just, those journeys were always so tremendous and memorable that they stand out for me in that way, whatever time frame it would have been.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, Kat and I have been very spontaneous. We drove out to Colorado, and a couple times when we did this with the girls, that's a long trip. We would not reserve our hotel before we would go out. And we would just stop wherever the world landed us. And I think that's a lot of fun to kind of just not plan at all and just start driving and say our final destination's this place, but let's see where we stay. Now, it's only burned us one time, and it didn't really hurt me. We just made the kids sleep on the floor, right? Because we couldn't get a hotel room where the kids had a bed, but they got over it.
That's right. They still call you on your birthday.
Yeah, they do.
And say they love you.
Yes.
All right. Send us home there.
Yeah, that's for this episode of the Pickup Meeting. We hope that your meetings, whether they're pickup or formal, are as meaningful and as fun as this one. Until next time, let's do good and be nice.